The Uvalde story gets even worse. I couldn't. Yesterday, we reported that there was a policeman outside and saw the guy before he went into the school. And instead of just taking the guy out, because the guy had already been shooting outside, instead of just taking that guy out, the cop asked for permission. He called his supervisor, asked for permission if he could shoot him. And he never heard back from his supervisor, so he didn't shoot him. And then that shooter went into school and killed all those kids. Now, what happened was, most recent happened is that a news agency leaked the video from inside the school. Now, you can't see any, you don't see any of the killing, but you can hear a bullet. You can hear he shoots a couple of times and you can hear it. And why is that interesting? It's interesting because you see the cops you can see the cops and they're doing nothing. They got all the armor. This guy's got one of those Batman shields. They got their body armor on. They got their helmets on. They got high-powered weapons. There's a million of them, and they don't do anything. Now, I've debated about whether to show some of this on the show or not, but I've seen other news shows showing this, so I'll show some of it. And here we go. So police enter the school minutes after the gunman does. So they show the gunman enter, and 3 minutes later, the cops are in. But there was already a cop outside who saw him before he came in and did nothing. So then the cops come in and watch what they do. Some officers rush toward the classroom. And then a bunch of them come in. And then turn it down just a little. There's going to be some gunshots coming up. So then there's a couple of shots that go. So the guy's shooting in the room, and then the cops run away. Officers retreat in the hallway and take cover after shots were fired by the gunman. So they didn't do anything. They just ran the other way. They heard shots and they ran the other way. They know there's a guy inside that classroom with those kids with a gun, and they're running the other way. That's what I would do. Turns out I could be a cop. And so then 19 minutes later, even more heavily armed cops show up with ballistic shields, those are called. I call them the Batman shields. So they show up, and what do? Nothing. They don't do anything. They're standing there with their ballistic shields, their helmets, their high-powered... They're not doing anything. It's 31 minutes later. So basically, this is it. But there is one part that I'd like to show because it shows that still no rescue attempt 36 minutes later. The gunman, by the way, this was released by the I have to get the news. It was a newspaper, the Statesman, Austin State.
The Austin American Statement.
The American Statesman, yeah. So they're the one putting this commentary there. So 48 minutes later, the gunman is heard firing 4 more rounds. They're still not doing anything. They're all just standing there at the end of the hall. Hey, what are you aiming at? "57 minutes later, they're still not in that classroom. So 10 minutes have gone by since those guys walked down that hallway. Do you see this? What just happened there?
Unbelievable.
This guy, as there's people being shot inside that classroom and they're not doing anything, they're all standing around like knuckleheads. This guy went over and sanitized his hands. Watch this. So watch this guy. So I just wanted to show you that.
Well, you know, COVID, Jimmy.
Wow. So it's worse than you thought. Again, it's worse than you thought. And then when someone brings it up, now this is the mayor and the city council, and they're upset that someone released that video, that the newspaper released that video.
Of course they are.
They're upset about that. You think I'm kidding? Watch this.
To do it this way. The video needed to be released, but the family should have got to see it first.
This video needed to be released, but the family should, like, they give a crap about the, anyway, that's what they're saying. They're hiding behind the family. But watch this. A reporter pushes back. Watch this.
Appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
The mayor said chicken. It was chicken.
Yeah.
To release.
He said it was chicken shit to release that. They're saying that at a meeting. That's always tough. I'm going to swear. He said it was chicken. I'll say it was chicken shit. Oh, he's tougher. Watch this.
That video, the way you did it. That part of that video was not supposed to be in what they're doing on Sunday. That was not supposed to be there. They did that for ratings, and they did that for money. And that's the only reason they put that out there.
What about the cops? Are they chicken?
He goes, oh, yeah? What about that? The reporters for releasing that video were chicken shit? What about the cops? Were they chicken shit? Let's hear what the answer is. What do you think he's going to say?
We're going to handle that.
We're going to handle that.
They did a good job. You still think they did a good job?
You said you said they did a good job. You still think they did a good job? Let's see. Does he think so? Does he answer any of these questions? No. Watch what he says.
I'm not going to get into an argument with you on that.
I'm not going to get into an argument with you. He's not arguing. He asked you a question. Do you still think they did a good job? Because you said that before. He's just asking you a question. I'm not going to argue because the answer would make me look like an asshole.
I haven't seen the video yet, but I can tell you that one of the officers you called that got grades in that deal, in that video, he goes back down that hall 3 times trying to get in that room. 3 different times. I know what everybody thinks, and we need to let the investigation come through.
The door was open, turns out. So I don't know what this. So if these people would just shut up, like, I don't know what they think they're accomplishing with that, but everybody in that city should resign. Everybody in that city, every cop in that city, it's just nuts.
Without retirement, without a pension, without. Yeah.
And I'll say it again. The idea, and you heard Barack Obama say it once, that a police officer's number one job is to make sure he gets home safe at night. That is not his job. His job is to make sure I get home safe at night, that those kids get home safe at night. If his job was to make sure that he gets home safe at night, then his job is just like my job. So then a cop is just as bad as is just as worthless as a fucking comedian? That's a dumb thing to say. That a cop's number one job is to make sure he gets home safe at night. That's not what his job is. The reason why he gets to carry a gun and has a monopoly on violence and has, what is that called? What kind of immunity? The qualified immunity is because they're supposed to risk their lives for you. I don't care what the Supreme Court said in a thing. That's what policing is supposed to be. And if you're not willing to risk your life, then you shouldn't be a cop. You should go be a comedian. Anything you like to add?
I don't know, Jimmy. I wasn't really upset about the whole Uvalde situation until I found out that this video had been released. That is really an outrage. That is the worst part of this story by far. By far. Frankly, I wouldn't even think we should cover it until I heard about this video being released. Not the video itself; it's the release of the video. The release, and that's really the families are going to be upset about that. What happened before, probably not so much, but the release of this video.
Yes.
That's what's really.
I think this would be the toughest thing for the family. I mean, the family had probably already moved on, and then they released this video.
Water under the bridge.
Yeah, and this is just picking a scab.
To stir it all up again.
Yeah, picking a scab.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. It can't.
I like how, but he's able to make a determination that it was chicken shit for the press to release the video. Not ready to make a determination about the police conduct. That one we're still reserving judgment.
That's right.
I don't want to jump to any conclusions.
Yeah, I don't want. We're gonna handle the cops. I don't want to say if they were chicken shit, but that you releasing the video of them being chicken shit was chicken shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, a lot of people are focusing on the fact that they didn't enter the room for whatever it was, 70 minutes, and didn't really try to confront the gunman. But nobody's talking about how they weren't spreading COVID by making sure that they were sanitized.
Here we're going to Sacramento, back here in Los Angeles, Bakersfield, Indianapolis, Louisville, Cincinnati, Tulsa, Oklahoma City. Go to jimmydorecomedy.com for a link for all the tickets for all our shows.